the practice of gratitude is something that is very, very useful. And it's just simply bringing to mind deliberately what you're thankful for. This is something that can be super helpful every morning, every evening, just a practice of gratitude, just to go through and list the blessings that you have in your life. And it really does help put in perspective some of the other things that are going in our lives that cause us to feel anxious or stressed out, or to feel that we just don't have the things in our life that we want. So even though there are probably things that you would like to change in your life, by becoming aware and intentionally becoming aware of the things that you already have in your life, it can really help balance that out. And it really can help you feel a whole lot better pretty quickly. Now, where this gets a little bit tricky is that many of us who are very grateful for the things that we have, we also believe that we should be grateful. And so we have to really watch out for this should monster. Because in our efforts to always remain aware of the things that we have to be thankful for, what we can actually start doing is beating ourselves up anytime that we feel bad. So anytime that we're experiencing any negative emotions, what we start doing is we start beating ourselves up and saying things to ourselves like, I don't have any right to feel that way because I have a great life, because I have a roof over my head, because I have a job. I shouldn't feel that way because, and then you give yourself all these reasons. And so you essentially shut it down. Like you shut down whatever those emotions are that you're feeling, because you start to believe that bad feelings mean that you're not also grateful for what you have. That bad feelings wouldn't exist at all if you were doing it right. That if you were grateful and thankful for the things that you had in your life, then you wouldn't feel crummy. And so if you're believing that, which is not true, my friends, but if you're believing that, it's really hard for you to accept anything negative in your life at all. Now, remember, I've talked about before, like the world is positive and negative 50-50. So there's going to be negative that comes along. That's part of the deal. And as science-based people, you know this, right? Like you understand homeostasis and you know that things need to be in balance. And so the positive and negative need to balance each other. It makes perfect sense scientifically. But remembering that in the real world can be a little challenging because we don't like the way that the negative stuff feels. And we do a lot to run away from the way that the negative stuff feels. And we think things are going wrong when we feel something negative. And it doesn't have to mean that anything has gone wrong at all. It just means that this is part of the negative side, and let's look at it and then figure out, like, where do you have power to change either the way you're thinking, or maybe in some cases it might be appropriate to change a circumstance so that that negative doesn't continue. Many of us don't even give ourselves the opportunity to have those kinds of thoughts, to analyze a situation, because as soon as the negative emotion comes up, as soon as you have a negative thought about your circumstances, you don't even allow it to be there. You quickly shut it off, and you don't shut it off in a way that the gratitude serves you. You shut it off in a way that a gratitude actually makes it worse. So let me walk through an example I think is going to help you out. Give me just a second, though. Got to get a drink. Okay, so here's an example. Let's say that you're at work and you're just thinking, I hate my job. Or maybe you're getting ready to go to work and you're thinking, I hate my job. When you think the thought, and I'm sure like this is one we can relate to, right, guys? Like how many times have many of us have thought this? So the thought, I hate my job, what is the feeling that brings up? What emotion, one word, do you feel when you think the thought, I hate my job? For me, I think I could identify dread. Like if I'm thinking I hate my job, then I'm dreading going in. I'm dreading everything about it because of that thought, I hate my job. If I'm falling into the gratitude trap, as soon as I think the thought, I hate my job, then a counter thought comes up, I should be thankful that I have a job. And we think that that thought is helpful. I hate my job. I should be thankful that I have a job. Here's what's happening. In that moment, when you tag on to your gratitude the word I should, you totally change the way that you feel. The I hate my job is bringing up dread. I should be thankful I have a job is going to bring up shame, or it could bring up guilt. So it's going to bring up another negative emotion. And this is what I call the gratitude trap, because you know, and you actually are probably grateful that you have a job. But when you tell yourself, I should be grateful I have a job, you're just punching yourself in the face, essentially. You're beating yourself up over it. And so you're basically saying, I don't have any right to be unhappy in my current job position because there are people out there that don't have jobs, and therefore I should be thankful I have a job and not even acknowledge the fact that I'm unhappy in it. Let's see, can you just make sense? Does it sound familiar? I've been talking to a lot of people recently, and this is a theme that keeps coming up. And I think that for those of us of any kind of faith, that this one is really easy to stumble into and not even realize that you're doing it, because we do know and we are very grateful for all of the things that we have in our lives. But somewhere along the way, we bought into this idea that we shouldn't want more, that it would be, what's the word I'm looking for? It would be ungrateful. It would be ungrateful to be unhappy with the things that we were given. And I want you to step back and realize that the blessings in our lives are not always going to be perfect. And so we do not always have to react perfectly to them. And so in the situation with the job, if you're having a thought, I hate my job, don't beat yourself up for having the thought by countering it with the, I should be thankful I have a job. You definitely can think the thought, I am grateful I have a job. And if you just think the thought, I am grateful I have a job, you're probably, or I am thankful I have a job, you're probably going to have an emotion of gratitude, right? And gratitude is going to feel better than the dread. But just what I want you guys to recognize here is that the I hate my job and the dread that comes from that, the emotion dread that comes from that, and the thought, I am grateful, I am thankful to have a job, and the gratitude that comes from that, those two things can coexist. They absolutely can, and they should. They should coexist. You can be grateful to have a job and also hate it. The reason it's important to allow these things to coexist is because when you go to the alternative, which is the I should be grateful I have a job, which brings up shame, you shut off any ability to analyze why you had the I hate my job thought in the first place. And until you get to the bottom of that thought, you're just going to continue to be super unhappy. You don't have any power. You basically just accept that you hate your job and that that's all that there is, like that you're destined to hate your job, that you shouldn't be doing anything different because you should just be grateful you have one. And so that gratitude thought, I should be thankful I have a job, is going to keep you stuck in misery. And it just compounds the emotion of feeling crummy. Being able to separate the two, being able to be grateful for having it, but then allowing yourself to recognize that you're unhappy in it, that is super powerful because it gives you opportunity to understand what's going on. And when you give yourself that opportunity, you can ask yourself why, rather than just acting like that thought's not there. So the I hate my job thought, the next question is why? Why do you hate your job? If you allow yourself to go down that path, you'll discover a lot of different answers. And in those answers are going to be your opportunities to make it better. So here's a few examples that I think a lot of us might say. Like if you say, okay, I hate my job, and you ask yourself why, maybe one of the things that you come up with is, I hate my job because I'm spending all day working with small animal patients and my passion is for horses. I really want to work with equine. Okay, good to know, right? So what do you do in that circumstance? If your passion is truly for equine medicine,